Yeah, I had to drop my hat on the ground because if I have it this way, you can't see my face. If I turn it backwards, it makes me look like I'm out here crazy. But I'm gonna leave it back here. But I tell you, today you all, we got a great show for you all. Gloves off, 100. Now, before we get started, I want to give you a prelude of what's going on. Now, we're talking about the Nation of Islam, Farrakhan Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and Farakhan. But before we get started, I want to give you a prelude. I want to take you back to, let's say, 10 years prior to the birth of the Nation of Islam. But to go a little bit further, we'll start with Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali, may peace and blessings be upon him. Drew Ali started teaching in his own temple in 1913, 17 years old. Islam, black movement, more science. He's from North Carolina, but ended up opening a temple in New Jersey at the age of 17. How many of you all can do that? How many of you all have done that? Shouts out to Noble Drew Ali, who started with the movement of Islam in America on a black level. And after the authorities murdered him, you had Marcus Garvey. And what did they do to Marcus Garvey with his Pan-African movement back to Africa? After he bought the ships from them, which they knew was faulty, just to waste the people's money. But he had an idea, and he failed. Drew Ali didn't see how long of a life he should have seen, but he was able to establish the temple, more science, and Marcus Garvey was able to establish his movement. Marcus Garvey, when his time came around, he had the most advanced black movement, the most powerful one. He had over 2 million black people here in America. And yes, he was a Muslim, and yes, he was a Mason, and Drew Ali was a Mason. Okay? So both of these great leaders are Masons. Now after they wipe out Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali teachings are still thriving in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Farrakhan Muhammad, who was a student of Moorish science teachings, was in the temple before Elijah Muhammad met him. Now, according to Elijah Muhammad, not some story, but according to Elijah Muhammad, he say that Master Farrakhan Muhammad appeared in 1930, July 4th. However, Elijah Muhammad did not first meet him face to face. It was his wife, Mother Clara Muhammad, Sister Clara Poole, because Elijah's name was Poole at the time. Now, she met him. He was peddling silk and a student of the science of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Sister Clara Poole, aka Sister Clara Muhammad, told Elijah Muhammad that there's a man down the street here in Detroit, Black Bottom, that I think you may need to go here. and he listened to his wife. Now, at this time, Elijah Muhammad had moved from Sandersville, Georgia, to Detroit, Black Bottom, Detroit. He said he was so far down in the mud, meaning life had beat him up so bad that he was walking around with holes in his shoes. He was so far down in life that his eyes was in the mud. He had 3 or 4 kids. Okay, when he moved here with Sister Clara. Clara heard Master Farrakhan Muhammad told her husband Elijah to go see him. He did that, and Elijah said, "I know who you are." And he said, "Well, who else knows that?" "That's Farrakhan." And Elijah said, "No one. Leave it that way." Now, obviously, Farrakhan Muhammad, whom they say was a criminal, whom they say was an ex-felon, who was a robber, who was a fraud, before he even came to the MOPOWERZ symbol of America. Now, he has ties overseas with the Dravidians and some of those Arabs over there, okay? That's in Mecca. Now, after he met him, and Elijah Muhammad joined the MOPOWERZ Temple of America, about a year later, after the stock market crash of 1930, in 1931, Elijah Muhammad began to receive personal instruction and teachings from Farrakhan Muhammad. Now, at this time in history, you have to remember that black people was willing to get out of anything that was not helping them to prosper, because they just killed Black Wall Street as well. I meant to mention that. So you got Noble Drew Ali, you got Marcus Garvey, and you got Black Wall Street, which was just destroyed. Okay, so now it's time to rebuild. Black people were already thriving. Black people were already into the consciousness of themselves, or what they thought consciousness. They were into a higher level of thinking back then than they are today. In regards to progress, in regards to unity. But needless to say, Elijah Muhammad was taught by Farrakhan Muhammad for 3 years. Follow his instructions. Farrakhan gave him the keys to his salvation. You see, when a man comes to you that has a higher form of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, especially when he's teaching you some things that you've never heard of, and that which he tells you and instructs you of, can't no one really defeat the science. We're not talking about the theology of Islam, because we know as Islam was a religion that was used to enslave black people back in 725 AD, way before the North Atlantic trade slave even existed. And that was done through the Arabs. And you got to remember that Farrakhan Muhammad was from the Dravidian tribe. So they had a lot of intermingling back and forth with those Arabs that took over other black people land in Arabia there, okay? Intermingling and all of that good stuff. So needless to say, he got a lot of his teachings from Mecca. He was a Muslim. He studied Islam. Elijah Muhammad said, and he was a white Arab. Let's get that understood. He was a white Arab. And he had the audacity to teach this little black man who only went to the 4th grade, never finished the 4th grade, went to the 4th grade, and taught him how to become an entrepreneur, a businessman, a right fist for black power, black trouble, black struggle, black improvement. Raised this man. Elijah didn't care what color the man came in. He saw that salvation was in that man for him. And the people saw that their salvation was in Elijah, because many people didn't get to meet Farrakhan Muhammad. They kicked him out of Detroit, they kicked him out of Chicago. And hell, in the early days of the Nation of Islam, you even had somebody who died like by stabbing, some sacrificial stuff, you know. But that wasn't a part of the whole deal that he prescribed to Elijah. That's a whole nother story. But I had to throw that in because I'm not trying to leave anything out. But there's a lot of more information we'll have to go over later on in another video. But anyway, in 1931 to 1934, he was under his instruction. He was coming up in life. He was looking better. He wasn't drinking no more. Elijah Muhammad used to drink. And yes, he was a Mason too. I'm just saying. And if you really want to ask me, I say that Farrakhan was a Mason. I'm just saying. Now, Elijah Muhammad, 1934, began on his own without Farrakhan, because they had got rid of Farrakhan. The authorities did. They put him in jail, let him go. He went to Chicago, put him in jail. You gotta go. You gotta go, bro. You teaching, you're a white dude, a white Arab teaching black power, black business, black improvement, black self-development to a black man, and he is succeeding. He is succeeding. Now, I am a former FOI. Moved through the ranks pretty fast, so I know what I'm talking about here. Now, Elijah began to teach. They had the mosque there, and the first mosque in Detroit, Temple number 1, down in Black Bottom. And they began to grow. Elijah began to travel around the country, spreading Islam, teaching you that you are the God. See, never before in religion did a man bring you face to face with God and the devil. That was never done. Except in ancient Egyptian times, when the priests knew who you were, and the students who was trying to get there in the Egyptian mystery system, which is to elevate you into a God. Okay? Elijah Muhammad taught the same science, just in a different manner, under the flag of Islam and Islam, and some God truth, to be exact. Now, he said that God came in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad. Now, if you're like me and you have a higher level of thinking, it wasn't that Master Farrakhan Muhammad was God. It was God that was in him that came, however he came. Elijah didn't care who came. He wanted to get out of the condition that he was in. Right now today, if you're on the highway and you're stranded, and the white dude come along, helps you out, even get your car towed, he pays for it, and then get you to where you need to go, was that not your savior at that time? Same concept, but they had to do it under a religious banner. Like I said, Black Wall Street was already established. Islam was already established. But he learned what his predecessors did and didn't do. Elijah Muhammad learned what Drew Ali did. Elijah Muhammad learned what Marcus Garvey did. Elijah Muhammad learned what happened in Black Wall Street. He learned what not to, so that he could be successful, and Farrakhan Muhammad guided him this way. There's no way that he would have been successful as a black man had he not went under the flag of Islam. He would not have been successful. He would have ended up like Marcus Garvey or Drew Ali. But he told you face to face who's God and the devil, despite the fact that he gave you a religion that enslaved you back in 725 AD. He did try to teach you or get you to wake up to your common sense. He told you where all of your problems was coming from. He told you what to eat. He told you to get off the drugs. He told you to stop gambling. He told you to stop drinking. He told you to stop hoeing. He told you to stop being indecent. He wanted you to be a righteous person with an elevated mind so that you can excel in life. That was the whole base of the plan. Islam was just an overplay for the underplay. Think about it. In fact about it, Elijah Muhammad had the greatest or the most powerful black organization that it was in the United States. And he had a reign of 40 years. 40 years. And it didn't kill him. People tried to say that he had Malcolm murdered. He didn't go to jail for that. We'll get to that too. People say he had sexual encounters with 16-year-old girls. He didn't go to jail for that. He didn't get charged with statutory rape. He didn't even go to court or have a bond hearing at all. So you all should stop that. In fact about it, statutory rape laws wasn't even in effect then. In fact about it, how many of you right now still want to mess with some young girls even though there's statutory rape laws right now? And he didn't kick them girls out of the nation. He didn't kick them girls out of the nation. In fact about it, one of those little girls was Mother Tanetta. And she's still around. Well, her son Ishmael from Elijah Muhammad is still around. Mother Tanetta, may peace and blessings be upon her. Don't know who Mother Tanetta is, go research her. Now, getting back to this nation thing, like I said, I'm going to take you back to catch you up again because I've been rattling off at the mouth. So, you got Noble Drew Ali who failed. You got Marcus Garvey who failed. Well, Noble Drew Ali, he didn't fail. They killed him, and his establishment and movement is still going on today. He did not fail, but they assassinated him in prison. Marcus Garvey failed. Malcolm X's dad was a preacher of Garveyite, okay? We're going to get to that in a minute, too. Black Wall Street, the U.S. government, the devil, according to Elijah Muhammad, is the ones who bombed us, who killed us, and then stole all our land. Right there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Street, 1921. So we was already in development, okay? We weren't just plain dumb. But to bring you face to face with God and the devil, and to bring you all of these black business plans again as a reinforcement of what they just tore down, we got to do it this way. And he did that. And in religion, you know, you got a lot of spookism going on. But if you can remove the religion and see what was underneath it, it was all about black power. It was all about upliftment. It was all about respect. It was all about you being the best that you could be. He talked about UFOs. The Bible talked about UFOs. You all didn't talk crazy about Ezekiel like that. I'm just saying. And he also told you where you were in those tampered scriptures. He told you where you were. He told you where your history fit. And to this day, you can't deny that. Until this day, you can't deny that. In fact about it, Elijah Muhammad always said, I got $10,000 for anybody that can prove me wrong in what I'm saying. I ain't never heard of nobody collecting $10,000 for anything that he said wrong in regards to the historical truth about who these people are and where we need to go. He was doing this back in the 30s. The man was so cold with the demonstration that the feds came and got him because they say that he evaded the draft, him and a couple of his followers. But after 4 years, he was pardoned. We're sorry. You didn't evade. You were too old. He already told them that, and they knew that, but they had to take him off the street because World War II had kicked off. But just think, before World War II kicked off, you just in the Depression. Black people are in bad shape. Bad shape. Don't you think they needed something to get them out of the mud in which they were in? From the depression of society which placed them where they were? After seeing all of the black progress and struggles of black people with the lynchings, the burning of Black Wall Street, don't you think that we needed a rebirth of something? They just killed Drew Ali. We needed a rebirth of something. They just killed Marcus Garvey, his movement. They exiled him to another country. I believe it was Jamaica. His movement is gone. They didn't kill him, though. They exiled him. Huh? Black Wall Street? Oh, y'all really want to still do some more? Okay, bang. Government blows that up. We need to do what? Keep the movement going. And that's what he did. He switched up the game. He switched up the game and showed you what you could do in the Midwest, because Tulsa was in the South. But we was getting it on everywhere. There's a lot of history that you don't know and the progress that we made back at that time. But the Depression's hit, right? Could you imagine teaching the people what he taught them back during the Depression? Do you know how hard that could have been? That ain't no easy job. How many of you all can't even get your own selves out of off the couch or off the computer to read a book, or stay on the computer and read something educational versus all of the madness? Hey, if they said Elijah Muhammad was here today and he's having a meeting over here, but the All-Star game is going, how many people gonna stay home and watch the All-Star game versus going to see what the man had to say? The same way it is today was the same way back then. But the difference is black people had more unity among themselves back then. They had more respect for themselves back then. They even dressed like kings and queens back then. Look at how people dressed in Black Wall Street versus now how black people dress today. It is a shame. That means that your mindset about your own self-respect has degenerated. Look at how you dress. And I'm talking about from guys to girls. I'm just saying. We have more of a mind or a spirit that wanted to do something better because all of the atrocities that we faced. And this man had the answer for a whole lot of black people in America. He had that answer for them. So Elijah became their salvation. And like I said, he was so wicked with it that the FBI came and got him and took him to prison and made him do 4 years. And while he was away in prison for those 4 years, he gave lessons to Mother Clara Muhammad to take back to the followers of the nation, and she gave the lessons. And you say, what, the woman is not who? You say the black woman is not who? Crazy, right? So imagine that. How many of you all can get your woman to make you something to eat, let alone deliver a spiritual black uplifting message for thousands of black people out there while your husband's still in prison? That's how much power this man had. Huh? That's how much respect they had for him. That's how much respect they had for his wife. because his wife held it down, and the master of it all was gone. He wasn't here. So when he got out, he got right back on top. Got right back on top. But he was getting older now, and he needed a new sharp instrument to carry on the message so that it could reach the people of that era. And he found in 1955 none other than Malcolm X. Raised Malcolm X like he was his son. Now, granted, Malcolm X had already had some seeds of revolution in his spirit because of who his daddy and his mama was. His mama was a Garveyite, his dad was a Garveyite, and they killed his daddy. Yeah, they killed his daddy. Actual facts. Then they took his mama to some group home, then they took her children, and they separated all of them, sent them to foster homes. Malcolm ended up in Detroit Red. Then he went out to Boston, went out to New York, to prison in Boston. And when he got out in 1955, or before he got out in 1955, he was introduced to the Nation of Islam in prison by a brother that was in the nation. And when Malcolm got out, Elijah cuffed him, took him under his wing. Under his wing, he was already contacting him while he was in prison. He cuffed him, gave him the game. Malcolm was the best. Malcolm was the best. When you listen to Louis Farrakhan, you hear a lot of Malcolm because Malcolm was Farrakhan's teacher. But we're going to get back to this Malcolm thing. So now Elijah put Malcolm on the stage for the world to see him. Whew. Elijah made him a new man, a more powerful man, a man that was fearless, Malcolm X, under the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, not his daddy, because his daddy was dead over a decade. So he even called Elijah Muhammad his father. That's the man that he knew that uplifted him from the condition in which he was in. And with the wisdom of a fourth grader, that was taught by a white Arab, Malcolm X was the star of the nation. He was the nation's vicegerent. He was Elijah's right-hand man. Malcolm debated professors, defeated them, and he never went to high school. Think about that. Elijah went to the 4th grade and Malcolm went to the 8th grade. And he made him a giant, like Farrakhan made Elijah a giant. And in those teachings by Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X raised a giant for Elijah, or brought another giant into the picture for Elijah, and that was Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. Who raised him? Malcolm X and Louis Farrakhan. Now, yes, he had his mom and his dad, talking about Cassius Clay, had his mom and his dad in Kentucky and everything, but when he heard this man, you see, when you hear that spark of truth that you need to hear, can't nobody tell you that it's not what it is. He heard a savior, Muhammad Ali. You see? You keep talking about Islam. Islam was just an overplay for the underplay. Islam was like it was with Ali, even though they had Noble Drew Ali, even though they had different theologies. But it was all for the same cause, for the upliftment of black people, for the upliftment of making one from a nigger to a god. Christianity didn't do that. Catholicism didn't do that. Judaism didn't do that. And Orthodox Islam does not do that. But why did he come under Islam? Because Islam teaches you to be a revolutionary. Ain't no punks in Islam. Muslims will commit suicide to get you. That's how serious they are about demonstration. And Malcolm was no punk. Malcolm was a gangster. Malcolm was a gangster. You had gangsters in the Nation of Islam. These people were no punk. Back in the day when Elijah was around, are you serious? They were gangsters. Hey, Elijah Muhammad said what? Malcolm, I need you to keep your mouth closed. This was before or about the president. Even Warren B. Muhammad, Elijah's son, went against Elijah because of that 16-year-old girl incident. In fact, it was two of them sleeping with the young girls, but he got their consent. He didn't rape them. He got their consent. And like I say, Ishmael is, if I'm not mistaken, is part of that product, okay? Ishmael Muhammad, who is a minister for Muhammad's Mosque, Temple number 2. That's headquarters right now. 75th and Stony, 73rd and Stony, in Chicago, South Side. So yeah, so now Malcolm goes to the devil. He goes to Walter Cronkite over there on 60 Minutes and told him what Elijah was doing and how he was a filthy man by sleeping with these younger girls. Now, I'm sure Elijah was mad because the man crossed him after giving him everything, after putting him on a world stage. You're going to try to do that to me? Me and my wife have built this thing from the ground up for 30 years at the time, 32, 33 years at the time, and you're going to try to destroy it, nigga, you got to go. Huh? Wouldn't you? Just think, if you were the right hand of Larry Hoover, Minister Rico, Jeff Ford, Chief, you're the right hand of them, and you cross them, what is going to happen to you? You're going to get whacked. Now, who whacked him? Who whacked Malcolm? They say that the nation whacked Malcolm, but the people that they arrested and did all of that time came out of prison millionaires, over $20 million. And they were pardoned. So they didn't do it. They didn't do it. And they were in the nation, and they didn't do it. Farakhan didn't do it. Farakhan helped fuel the atmosphere to get Malcolm killed as well. Malcolm fueled his own atmosphere as well. Malcolm fueled his own atmosphere when he went down there to 60 Minutes and talked to Walter Cronkite about Elijah. That was Malcolm's doom right there. He had no more protection. You sat there, Malcolm, and talked about all these white people and what they doing and what they not doing and who they are and who you are. And then you cross your teacher who was protecting you with the whole mob. And then you tried to destroy the mob. You tried to bring that man down. What did you think was going to happen to you? Like I said, you can't blame the nation. Because the people whom you say, and they said back then that was responsible for the incident, Like I said, they millionaires right now with the pardon. So we can wipe that out the equation. You got my brother in Detroit saying how Louis Farrakhan said, so what if we did kill him? So what if we did? Well, those wasn't Louis Farrakhan words. That was the answer that the messenger gave Louis Farrakhan for anyone who asked about the situation. Because it was rumors. Did they do it? Did you do it? Did they do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? And Elijah told Farrakhan to say, so what if we did it? They had a right to do it if they did. But obviously they didn't, because the people who they thought did it, who were in the nation, didn't do it. Malcolm had enemies. Malcolm left himself vulnerable, and the feds knew it. FBI, CIA, all of white America wanted him dead. And when Malcolm did what? Talked about going to the UN for civil rights and human rights violations, that's where Malcolm went wrong. Malcolm was instructed never to be involved in politics. Elijah Muhammad taught him never to go in politics, bro. Leaving white people alone, that's their business, man. This is our business over here. And the people that's not listening to us, they don't want to be a part of us. Man, we have to do this and show them that they can do it too. And Elijah Muhammad didn't care if you was a Muslim or not. He was giving you the information. He was giving you the information. People say that, well, Muslims don't take care of Muslims. They should. But they offer you the chance to come among the mob, or they are nice to you and trying to help you. I'm just saying, where can you fault that at? The man even told you how to save for yourself. Even gave you a 3-year economic program, or a 5-year economic program, excuse me, a 5-year economic program. And he told you that if you don't want to donate to this cause, save your own money, gave you a way, gave you some directions on how to save you some money. He was a fraud, okay. Showed you what you can do, like Black Wall Street did, but he was a fraud, okay? He told Malcolm after he went to Walter Cronkite, that man, you expelled, bro. You kicked out of here, bro. You kicked out, man. And while you at it, man, don't say nothing about the president that they just killed, okay? I'm going to leave you in the house that you got. Yeah, the house belongs to the nation. You helped get that house, okay? So you can stay there for free. And whatever else you do, that's on you. We know you got to make some moves. You're a grown man. You got to feed your kids. But stay out of the politics, man, and don't say nothing about that white boy who just got killed. And what did Malcolm do? He did exactly what his teacher told him not to do. Don't listen again. 2 fatal times that he didn't listen to him. So now talking about chickens coming home to roost. White people are already furious, right? Man, next thing you know, a bomb goes off in his house, right? Elijah Muhammad said he planted his own bomb. He made his own bomb in his own house with his own children. That sounds a little crazy. Malcolm X said that the nation did it because he trained them. And he know what they can do. Or the CIA could have done it. Anybody could have done it. No one was ever charged with bombing his house. Because they didn't care who bombed it. They wanted him gone. The feds wanted him gone. Elijah just wanted him quiet. He just wanted him quiet. If he wanted to kill him, he would have already did it already. And yes, Elijah Muhammad said that Malcolm X was trying to steal some of his followers while he was sleeping at night. Hey, because Malcolm took some of the angels from the nation, from heaven. He took some of those angels with him, all of that hard work that that man did. And Malcolm opened up a lot of schools, temples for the Nation of Islam. Malcolm put in work. Malcolm had more to lose. I mean, why would you set yourself on fire like that? When Malcolm came back from that OAU conference, and he was going to the UN for civil rights and human rights violations. That's what got Malcolm killed. He had no protection. He had no protection. He had no mob to protect him. He didn't have a teacher to protect him. Even Betty was trying to tell Malcolm that they're gonna kill him. I'm sure that Malcolm knew that he was doomed. After a while, he knew that he was doomed. He killed himself. Malcolm's daughter, if I'm not mistaken, it was Quablila. What's the other one? But one of Malcolm X's daughter tried to get Louis Farrakhan killed, put a hit out on him. And this was all over national news, all on TV. The news outlet had, and I think this was on CBS. Yes, I think this was on CBS. The news anchorman, Louis Farrakhan, and Malcolm X's daughter, right there on national TV. And Louis Farrakhan said, yes, I had something to do with the atmosphere of getting your father killed. I didn't pull a trigger. But yes, I helped antagonize the situation by saying what I said, and I'm sorry. But under such conditions at that time, you could have seen why that man have said that. You could have seen why that man have said that about Malcolm. That a man like Malcolm is worthy of death. Hell, they wanted Malcolm X's head on the messenger's table in his office. Do you hear me? But Elijah said, leave Malcolm alone. He knew Malcolm was doomed. He knew the man was doomed. And Malcolm went blindly wandering on, and they killed him. Louis Farrakhan said that those who killed him, they weren't cowards, they were fearless. They didn't hide behind no table, whoever it was. Because they never was charged with the murder. The CIA was never charged with the murder. And those who were charged, they stupid rich right now, out of prison with pardons. So you tell me who did that. And if you were Louis Farrakhan back in the day, and seeing that Malcolm taught Louis, do you see what I'm saying? Malcolm betrayed his teacher, and Louis Farrakhan, which was Malcolm's student, betrayed him. See how that go? Did you see how that go? Do I disown Farrakhan as a teacher because of what he did and played a part in Malcolm's murder? You have to be in that man's shoes at that time, in the 60s, when things were real hot. Right now, we ain't got no heat right now. This ain't no heat to black people right now. It was heat back then. Black people not getting dog sick on there right now. They ain't getting water hoses, and they ain't got, it is not the same. And on top of that, Louis Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam was two different nations. Louis Farrakhan did not inherit the Nation of Islam of Elijah. One, Dean Muhammad, which was Elijah's son, his oldest son, was Malcolm X's real buddy and was riding with Elijah because Warren Dean even went against his own dad. And he went to jail for the cause of Islam too. Now Warren Dean did, yes. But his dad died in 1975. That's when the message left. He died in 1975 and gave his son, Warren Dean Muhammad, the Nation of Islam. Warren Dean Muhammad tore the Nation of Islam down and led them to Orthodox Islam. In fact, about it, Elijah Muhammad sent his son to school overseas with the Arabs to learn Orthodox Islam. Warren Dean Muhammad had issues with the way his father was teaching the people. But he took care of his son. Him and his son, Malcolm and his son Warren, were very close. And they really tried to destroy the Nation of Islam together. But Warren Dean had to wait till 1975 to tear it down. And in 1978, when Louis Farrakhan brought the nation back up, he had some words for you. This was his own Nation of Islam, not Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam. He followed the same base pattern, but after a while, Louis Farrakhan began to do things that Elijah Muhammad didn't do. Like one, going to politics, telling you to vote. Elijah Muhammad never told you to go vote. He was against you voting. Told you, why even waste your time? Them devils ain't got nothing for you. They keep the same condition. You trying to vote him in office, he's trying to crack your head and keep you down on the ground. And you still trying to vote for him. Elijah Muhammad told you, don't go vote. That ain't none of your business. They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. Let them do their business and we're going to do our business. In fact about it, even white people respected Elijah Muhammad because one white philanthropist used to give him $100,000 every year. I'm not for sure how long that lasted, but it lasted long enough to keep on top. And to show how real it was, he even had some Nazis in the front row in the mosque while he was delivering a message, or in an auditorium where he was delivering a message. 2 Nazi dudes in the front row with swastikas. This was serious business. And they wanted to keep you separated anyway, so Elijah was right on time with what he was doing. But he could not make the mistakes that his predecessors had made, so he had to switch the game up. It's that simple. Hey, if you're into audiobooks, I'm doing audiobooks on my other channel, MOPOWERZ, right on YOUTUBE. And I'm working on the second audiobook about Elijah Muhammad now in this book entitled The Fall of America. We'll have that ready for you tomorrow. That'll be another upload by tomorrow or Monday. And prior to that, the audio series that's underneath The Fall of America is The Message to the Black Man, another book by Elijah Muhammad. So go check that footage out. Check them videos out and go to the live section of that channel as well. Okay? You have all of these other black master teachers who have studied, like John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Johakkinen, Mother Frances Cress Welsing, John Jackson. All of these people have studied some of the nation's ideas, theology, black nationalism, black powerism, and they was with that. They just wasn't with the Islam thing, you see? And I can understand that too. But Islam gave them structure, and it gave them a right to do what they were doing under the banner of Islam. You have to remember that religion is made for structure, is made for control. And religion is not all of that bad, because most people who are real religious people, they don't be in jails. They don't be out here doing drugs. They don't be out here drinking. Real religious people. You don't see them in jail. You don't see them begging for nothing. They may be a little brainwashed, but they're not brainwashed to kill themselves in jail, on streets, being prostitutes. None of that. So you have to give a man his respect. He said that Allah's going to destroy the earth, this part of the earth, the northern hemisphere, with fire. He only teaches you what is prophesied in the Bible. He said that the white man's rule was over in 1914. Well, the number who was your enemy is 666. When you add up the numbers of 1914, you get a 6. And World War II was what? 1941, 1942, you still get the number 6. And when they had the Korean War, you still get another 6. Look at the years when these happened and add those numbers up. And see, don't you get 666? Not to mention the fact that the white man is the devil, and he does make war. Everywhere he goes, he makes bloodshed. Look at what he's did to you. Elijah was trying to uplift you from all of the filth, garbage, the degeneration of your mind that has been knocked out of you, whipped out of you, lynched out of you, burned out of you, raped out of you. He wanted you to overcome that, to stand up like a man. Does Christianity do that? Does Judaism do that? Does Hinduism do that? No. Islam makes you stand up like a man. It makes you revolutionary to all of the madness and injustices that is going on around you. That's what Islam does. All religions are bloody, and they were all done on taking other people's property, geographical areas, and those people just happen to be people who look like me. All in the Bible, all in the Quran. I don't care which Bible it is. Even in your Torah. I don't care what it is. Always taking stuff that belong to people who look like me, that was sanctioned by God according to their religion. So what's wrong with Elijah Muhammad teaching the religion that black people are God? And that the white man is the devil, and you need to raise yourself, elevate yourself, and get things done for yourself. Do for self. Isn't that the first law of man, which is self-preservation? That's all he was doing. Where was he a fraud at? He told you some spooky shit. Yeah, it's religious. You have spooky stuff that's in religion. Some stuff you're not gonna believe. Take the meat out from the bones, just like the master teachers did. Take the meat out from the bones. You don't think that Huey Newton believed in some of Elijah Muhammad's? Where do you think they got their program from? Where do you think the black programs got their 12-step program from? From the nation. Do you think that Kwame Ture didn't like what the nation was doing? Right? And he was in the student of nonviolent. Yeah, he was in part of that committee, student of SNCC. Right? Student of Nonviolent Committee Commissioner, right? Whatever, SNCC. He wasn't with Elijah Muhammad, but he was for Black Power. And they got along great. All of these people studied Garvey. They studied Drew Ali. The science was nothing new, but when he brought you face to face with God and the devil, that was a whole different demonstration. And he showed you how. And he showed you who was and who wasn't. Hell, and Malcolm was his devil, his Judas. Just like I think that Khalid was another Malcolm. We only get these people like every 50 to damn near 50 to 75 years, and when we get them, we don't protect them. When we get them, we don't protect them. Why was Farakhan so successful? He saw what his predecessors did, and he didn't want to go down that road. But he had instruction under a very smart master teacher, Elijah. And he took it from there and he made his own faction. Just like Clarence 13X broke off and made his own faction. Just like Malachi York broke off and made his own faction. All of these people came from the nation. Even Malcolm tried to open up the Muslim Mosque Incorporated and the other program, Union something, African organization. But he had Muslim Mosque Incorporated, so he was still under Islam too. But yeah, he did take some of Elijah's followers. Elijah wasn't worried about that. He knew Malcolm was going to die. Malcolm had no protection. Malcolm did that to himself. Khalid, I'm sure that the minister instructed Khalid when he went out there to King College. And he called all of them people, they're crackers, and he called all of them devils right there. That was the teaching of Elijah Muhammad. Yes, yes it was. But I'm sure that him and the minister had a discussion on what he was going to talk about, and hey, what not to say, what to say, or have it went. Khalid became like, I think that the minister was wrong for that. But who am I, right? Maybe that would have been the downfall of the minister. And even, see, that's another twist, see? That's another twist. You see what I'm saying? Remember, Elijah Muhammad's and Louis Farrakhan Nation of Islam was two different nations of Islam. Whatever rules that he had weren't the same rules, same policies. It was basically that he had a base like the old nation because that's his foundation. But he didn't run it the same way that Elijah ran it. That's 100. Yeah. And while he was doing this, Elijah Muhammad, he began to have wives in the nation. He had 9 wives, if I'm not mistaken, just like the prophet. He said he came to fulfill the prophecy, so he did. Don't get mad at the man. Don't hate on the man and say that he was what you call them people, poly, you know what I'm saying, having more than one wife or whatever and all of this stuff. You had the prophets throughout the Bible that had more than one wife. You didn't say nothing about that. You didn't say nothing about Solomon. How many concubines did he have? I'm just saying, look at David. He even sent somebody out to war to get killed so he can sleep with the man's wife. I'm just saying. Like I said, Elijah Muhammad did a great job. And he talked about the destruction of the white race and said that it was over, okay? And it's only when the fullness of black people wake up. You're going to have some stragglers and everything. And he's not saying that you are going to overtake the white man. He's not saying that. The black man cannot take the white man over with weapons because he ain't got none. He don't make them. He don't own them. He just got little toys that the white man give him or let him have. He ain't got nothing to destroy the man with. But Black Wall Street did it. That's how God's coming, right there. A change, a revolution is change. A change the way people live, to change the way a person live. Revolution. And Black Wall Street shows you that. And they didn't like that. And their evil, racist, devilish selves destroyed it. But Elijah wanted to make another. And showed you how to do it. And showed you that it could be done. But yet you still got people talking about Jesus, and Jesus, they never did nothing for them. But they're religious. And they ain't been to jail, like got no felonies and all of that stuff. All those people who went to jail with Martin Luther King and with the Nation of Islam, they went for a cause. They went for a cause. Are you going to jail for a cause today? Are you going to prison for a cause today? Trying to uplift anybody, or are you trying to destroy somebody that look just like you? People out here trying to throw salt on that man's name. That man had a legacy, and he left it to his son, and his son went another route. That's it for that nation. Lewis is a new nation, and Lewis got so tired of you. Lewis got so tired of us. Yeah, Louis Farrakhan, he told us what he was going to do to us. He told you he was going to let you loose to the devils, and he did. If you go about 7 videos in my upload part of this channel, Louis Farrakhan tells you exactly why he turned you over to the devils. And he sure did. He turned you over to L. Ron Hubbard for a price. Ha! How can you name the man? The man been doing it 40, 50 years, and black people just got worse. Wasn't even listening to the man. The man put his life on the line and everything. But he still had protection. He's a Mason. He's a gangster too. All of these religious people that your pastors, your preachers, they gangsters, man. They don't have to be violent gangsters, even though a lot of them are and can be, like Louis Farrakhan. They can get violent. Now, don't get it twisted. The nation can get violent with you. But they choose not to, because that's not being right. And they don't want to hurt their people. And at the same time, they're not trying to destroy white people. They're trying to show you how to move past that, sidestep that, don't even be bothered with them. But now you say he's racist. Well, who's racist first? He don't control nothing. He don't control any avenues of opportunity for people who don't look like him at that time. He was giving people who look like him an opportunity. Y'all better stop tripping out there. I don't know what kind of weed y'all be smoking. Hey, like I said, you all, I hope that I gave you something to think about. And you must remember, Elijah Muhammad tried to get you to come back to your common sense. If the religion don't fit you, great. But look at what the man did with all of the other principles and strategies and movements that he made for the upliftment of black people. And the earth will be destroyed by fire, because the white man gonna kill himself. He gonna kill himself, and he gonna take us with him. That's a whole nother video. We'll do that later, okay? But that is the history and origin of the nation in a synopsis, okay? And we're gonna do more of these videos live, so stay tuned to the channel. And watch the other channel. Like I said, MOPOWERZ, if you're into audiobooks, if you're into history, go to the other channel. If you're into traveling, go to the other channel. MOPOWERZ on YOUTUBE. Thanks for viewing, you all. It's your brother MOPOWERZ on THEMOSHOW Chicago, where the execution of knowledge is power. It is your third eye that makes you shine like jewelry. If you haven't done so already, press that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and the word all, so that you can get all the videos or notifications when I upload videos on YOUTUBE. Also, press those condiments to like and to share. Share the information with relatives, friends, co-workers, anyone that you come into contact with. It is a magnificent way to jumpstart your CONVERSATION. Peace out, and never give up on your DREAMS.